In the headlines, NCDC places Nigerians on red alert over diphtheria outbreak in Kano State. Motorists lament as they spend hours on long queues at filling stations in Abuja. Host communities demand compensation as work on Kaduna-Kano rail project progresses. And on the foreign scene, mass graves discovered by UN peacekeepers in DR Congo. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Hello and welcome once again. We begin with health matters, where the NCDC, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, has placed healthcare workers on red alert over possible outbreak of diphtheria in the country, asking them to maintain a high index of suspicion for the disease by being vigilant and looking out for symptoms. Now, in a public health advisory issued by the Director General, NCDC, Dr. Ifedayo Adetifa, said the organization has responded to reports of diphtheria cases in Lagos and Kano states and is also monitoring the situation in Osun and Yobe states, where cases are now being picked up. The report.
Diphtheria is a serious bacterial infection caused by the bacterium called Corynebacterium species that affects the nose, throat, and sometimes skin of an individual. Symptoms include fever, runny nose, sore throat, cough, red eyes or conjunctivitis, and neck swelling. But in severe cases, a thick grey or white patches appears on the tonsils and at the back of the throat, associated with difficult breathing. Director General of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Dr. Ifedayo Adetifa, said in addition to the clinically suspected cases, there have been laboratory-confirmed cases, and the NCDC is working with state ministries of health and partners to enhance surveillance and response to the outbreak. Most at risk of contracting diphtheria are children and adults who have not received any or a single dose of the pentavalent vaccine, people who live in areas with poor sanitation, health workers, and others who are exposed to suspected or confirmed cases of diphtheria. NCDC says diphtheria spreads easily between people through direct contact with infected people, droplets from coughing or sneezing, and contact with contaminated clothing and objects. It advised parents to ensure that their children are fully vaccinated against diphtheria with 3 doses of the pentavalent vaccine as recommended in the childhood immunization schedule, while individuals with signs and symptoms suggestive of diphtheria are also advised to isolate themselves and notify the local government area, state disease surveillance officer, or the NCDC.
Now to matters of security, where gunmen have reportedly kidnapped 6 pupils at the local government education authority primary school, Al-Waza, in Doma, the headquarters of Doma local government area of Nasarawa State. The gunmen, who invaded the school premises on Friday morning, where they abducted primary school pupils to an unknown destination. Confirming, the Deputy Director, Army Public Relations for Special Forces Command, Doma Barracks, Major Joseph Adekule Afolashade, said 6 children of Al-Waza Primary School in Doma were kidnapped by gunmen, adding that the command has intensified efforts by deploying its patrol team, comprising of motorcycle patrol and other teams, to ensure that the victims are rescued unhurt. Meanwhile, gunmen have abducted 2 wives and 6 children of a traditional ruler of Mutumbiu in Taraba State. Reports say the gunmen, about 10 in number, stormed the residence of the monarch in Jalingo on Thursday and abducted his 2 wives and 6 children. Justice Sani Mohammed, a second-class chief, was not in his Jalingo residence at the time of the incident. The kidnappers have reportedly called on the monarch to demand that he meets them to discuss the release of his family. And still talking security, troops of Sector 3 of the Operation Hatinkai and the Multinational Joint Task Force have foiled an attempt by insurgents to attack Monguno in Borno State. This is contained in a statement on Friday by the spokesperson of the sector, Captain Babatunde Zubairu. Zubairu said some weapons and logistics were recovered. He said that 5 people were picked up by the army around the area during the operation and have been united with their families after investigations revealed that they had no connection with the terrorists. He said the sector commander, Major General Abdusalam Abubakar, commended the troops for their gallantry and professionalism in the fight against the insurgents. Abubakar called for more collaboration and support from host communities for maximum results. Meanwhile, 3 people have been injured in an explosion that occurred during the APC governorship campaign rally at Diobu, a densely populated area of Port Harcourt, River State. Trust TV gathered that the incident occurred when 3 explosive devices suspected to be dynamite went off simultaneously, causing panic at the Ojuku Field, venue of the rally. The 3 injured persons were taken to a nearby hospital for medical attention, while the campaign rally continued.
I was sitting down in Ward 20. I heard the bullet. I was sat down. Before I know the thing land on my leg.
I was sitting with my fellow people. We came for campaign APC. They threw over that bomb on that night right in front of the front. So people said, "No, I pulled the one I couldn't throw." So they came down faster. Faster, my leg was broken. I couldn't hear anything.
I came here for the rally, the APC rally. So I was just seated down. Before I knew it, all I heard was a bang. Before I got this injury, I don't really know. Explosion right now.
And candidates seeking political offices should anchor their campaigns on issues and action plans for the people they intend to serve, rather than mudslinging, character assassination and abusing one another. Now, some prospective voters in Azare, Katagum local government area of Bauchi State gave the advice ahead of the forthcoming general elections. Adamu Imam completes the report.
Candidates of political parties across the country are running from pillar to another, canvassing for support and votes for the electorate. In the course of doing this, intense rivalry set in, with one party abusing the candidates of the other party. Prospective voters in Bauchi said candidates should ideally sell themselves by telling people about their party manifestos.
You see this party abusing this other party alleging this other party has done so and so. That is not what the masses want. The masses want you to come out, tell them what will benefit them if you win. Tell them what you will do for them if you assume office.
He also noted that politicians in Bauchi State are not exception to the general rule.
Other parties, some parties are doing very well, trying to buy the attention of electorates. Others are there keeping quiet, while some are even going to Abuja to go and do their own campaign there. So this is not the Nigeria that I used to know before.
Meanwhile, some Bauchi residents are just prayerful to witness violence-free electioneering period. May God give us good leaders that can change things. You can see now, as a stranger here, I'm doing my business all the way from Jahun local government area of Jigawa State.
The problem now is that we want the government, if they promise us after the election, we want them to fulfill their promise.
Based on their own promises that they used to give us when they gather us, they are saying that they will do this, they will do this. So as I'm seeing, there is a great hope on this Nigeria. After this campaign, I think by God's grace, we are going to have peace and everything will be normal.
We want this government to help us, assist us, help us in a way, because this Nigeria have turned upside down.
The food costs for markets, so I want everything low. Maybe picnic now, but the local one is 350, the other one is 500. I want the half 500 and make like 300, so that people like Fulani and Hausa, they would buy cheap one.
In the past campaign period in Bauchi were characterized by attacks and counter-attacks on political opponents, leading to loss of lives and property. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
The paramount ruler of Bachama Chiefdom, Homon Daniel Ismail Shaga, has appealed to politicians to desist from hateful campaigns and concentrate their energy on what will drive the country towards economic prosperity and peaceful coexistence. The royal father made the appeal in his palace in Numan local government area. Ismail Shaga said leadership comes from God, noting that those contesting for political office should imbibe the spirit of sacrifice and patience. He advised politicians to make commitments to ensure that they fulfill all their campaign promises when elected, pointing out that the security and welfare of the people should be their priority.
If we avoid conflict, conflict will not come. How do we avoid conflict? We ourselves should avoid doing things that will bring conflict. If we hear anybody who is trying to generate an issue that will bring conflict, we will talk to him. If he doesn't want to hear us, we take him to the appropriate quarters. You can bring him here, palace. You can take him to the police. What we want is peace. Anybody who is here and does not want peace can take his bag and go to another location. We want peace. The people in the market who are selling things, they want peace. The people who are teaching in schools, they want peace. The parents who have small children, they want peace. If we don't have peace, we cannot make progress. Nothing will happen without peace. I believe that Numan people, Bachama in particular, and all the people around us, I'm sure by now you people should be tired of running.
And motorists in Abuja spend hours in filling stations to buy fuel as long queues return to the nation's capital. Noel Sampson speaks to the motorists on their frustrations. He also asks Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria why the scarcity lingers. His report.
Abuja residents expressed their displeasure that the monster of fuel scarcity in the nation's capital is back, as they either spend precious time in filling stations before they can buy fuel or buy at prohibitive price from the black marketers.
I spent 3 hours at Savas, Kariki by the Kanori. 3 hours. I enter here now. The queue is not moving. We that are joining the queue, some people will be maneuver, paying 500 and join, followed by outside gates, entering the fuel station and take fuel.
They sell 1 liter for 400. So where will 1 liter take me to? If I want to buy fuel, I have to buy like 20 liters, and how much is that? Buhari meet fuel 85 naira, and now we are bought fuel 195. Some place 300 naira per liter. This is too much.
The black market seller said it is not their fault that the price is high. We buy fuel from the filling stations for prices ranging from 2,600, 2,700 or 2,800 naira for 10 liters. Then we sell to people for 3,500 or 3,200 naira for 10 liters. A liter is sold for 190 naira in the filling stations. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, gives reasons for the lingering fuel scarcity.
We don't get the product from where we purchase the product. The channel of distribution usually starts from the NNPC importing, and NNPC distributes it to private depot owners. And the private depot owners usually send some to their retail outlets, those that have retail outlets, and majority of the volume is being purchased by independent marketers from them. And there is a price template of which they are supposed to sell it to the independent marketers. We cannot in any way continue to depend as an oil-producing nation to continue depending on importation of refined petroleum products.
Dollar in Nigeria is not like it used to be before. Diesel in Nigeria is not like it used to be before. Even those that are importing petroleum products and those that are breaking the buck, all of them have their own toll. I will also tell you that vessels that we have been taken before for $60,000 are now $120,000. So who is going to pay for that? So with the independent marketers, we bear the burden because we are the last people that dispenses to the customers.
Motorists and other customers plead with the government to address the problem before it becomes something else. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're with us on Trust TV News Update. Still ahead. We'll show you why phasing out old Naira notes will take time. Details of this and more after the break. You stay with us.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Daily Trust presents 20th Daily Trust Dialogue. Theme: Interrogating the 2023 Presidential Agenda. Panelists: Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika, former Chairman, First Bank of Nigeria. Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, Professor of Political Science and member of the board of the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. Dr. Yetunde Anibaba, Lecturer, Analysis of Business Problems, Lagos Business School. Dr. Eugene Enahoro, Human Capacity Development Specialist and CEO, Heltoni Services Limited. Chairman of the event, John Cardinal Onaikon, Archbishop Emeritus of Abuja. Date: Thursday, 25th January 2023. Time: 10 a.m. Venue: NAF Conference Center and Suites, Gwarimpa Expressway, near Next Shopping Mall, Kado, Abuja. For sponsorship and branding participation, contact 081 00 49 1948, 081 65 32 0660, or 080 33 92 8902. The event will be broadcast live on Trust TV.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Really, if you look at English squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Update. Now let's take another look at our top stories. NCDC places Nigerians on red alert over a diphtheria outbreak in Kano State. And motorists lament they spend hours on long queues at filling stations in Abuja. And moving on to other news now. Spokesman of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, Festus Keyamo, has filed a lawsuit against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, seeking the arrest of Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Keyamo joined the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, and the Code of Conduct Bureau, CCB, in the suit he filed after a 72-hour ultimatum he gave elapsed. Keyamo, a senior advocate of Nigeria, gave the ultimatum in a letter dated January 16th, and addressed to the chairman of EFCC, ICPC, and the CCB. He had said Atiku should be arrested and prosecuted for alleged offences against the Code of Conduct for Public Officers, money laundering, criminal breach of trust, and criminal misappropriation and conspiracy. Keyamo made the demand following a controversial video released by Michael Achimugu, a former aide of Atiku. Keyamo asked the Federal High Court in Abuja to compel the anti-graft agencies to investigate the matter and prosecute Atiku. Meanwhile, communities living along Kano-Kaduna route want the federal government to complete the Kaduna-Kano Standard Gauge Rail project, which at the moment has reached an advanced stage. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin, who travels along the rail project site, reports that host communities also want the authorities to ensure that all compensations are paid before the completion of the project. His report.
In July 2021, President Muhammadu Buhari flags off the 2.1 billion naira 200.11 kilometer Kano-Kaduna Standard Gauge Railway with a design speed of 150 km per hour to, among other things, provide the northward extension of Abuja-Kaduna Railway, strengthen the links between coastal port cities and other inland areas, promote the export of agricultural and mineral products, and transporting imported materials to the inland areas, as well as to facilitate mass movement of passengers, particularly middle-class income earners. This railway is very important to us because it will help us, the masses, in terms of transporting our agricultural produce, and also if traveling to, let's say, Zaria, Kaduna, or Kano from our villages. It's very important because we are farmers and we live far away from markets. Therefore, the train will ease our trading activities to market in neighboring cities. Nearly 2 years since the commencement of this project from Zawachiki in Kano to Tashariyari in Kaduna State, engineers on site confirmed that the first phase of the project is now at over 75% completion stage.
The level of the completion by now, we have achieved our target. You know, during the rain season, we have lost the job because of the rain season. But by now, we achieved our job. So many teams of department of the work, they already has done.
Despite the significance of this project in the development of export-oriented economy along the line, some host communities say they are yet to be compensated for their farmland. The problem is that they have collected our farmland and have not compensated us yet. Like this place we are standing is my farm, which is exactly on the rail line, but I have not been compensated. It is not in our tradition to challenge the government, but they have collected many people's farm. Some, they have paid them their compensation. Some, they did not, but we heard that they will still come back to settle them. Although contractors assured that the project will be completed in 2 months' time, at the moment, the earthwork could not move towards Zaria axis from Tashariyari, largely due to the fears of insecurity in some part of Kaduna State, which may likely affect the project's timely completion. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
And still staying in Kano, traders they want the Central Bank of Nigeria to extend the 31st of January deadline of phasing out old Naira notes from circulation due to the non-availability of the newly redesigned notes. The CBN, however, insists that the new notes are available in commercial banks and that traders must deposit their old banknotes before the deadline. Trust TV's correspondent Idris Jibril once again reports that the Apex Bank is intensifying sensitization campaigns on phasing out the old notes by the end of January.
A recent statistics by the Central Bank of Nigeria shows that out of $3.26 trillion currency in circulation, 2.72 trillion naira is presumably held by members of the public, the implication of which is believed to be threatening the nation's economic stability.
Currency management in Nigeria has faced several challenges that have continued to grow in scale and sophistication, with unintended consequences for the integrity of both the Central Bank of Nigeria and the country. Some of the challenges primarily are, first, the significance of hoarding of Naira notes.
While the CBN begins circulating the newly redesigned 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira note, the old currency will cease from being a legal tender from January 31st. However, traders in Kano say they may likely lose a lot of money unless the deadline is extended.
We buy fuel from the filling stations for prices ranging from 2,600, 2,700 or 2,800 Naira for 10 liters. Then we sell to people for 3,500 or 3,200 Naira for 10 liters.
According to the Nigeria's Apex Bank, this policy will help control inflation by forcing hoarded currency into the banking system, increase financial inclusion, and moving toward a more cashless economy. Again, these traders say there is no enough of the new notes to replace the old. We are not seeing the new notes in the market. Take for instance, in the whole of this market, you cannot get up to 50,000 Naira of the new currency. There are people who are transacting over 100 million Naira daily, but you can't get even 10,000 Naira from them. The CBN in Kano confirmed that at the moment, enough currency has been disbursed to various commercial banks and that traders should endeavor to deposit their cash before the deadline.
We've gone around to check some of the ATMs, and we are still getting results from it. Some that have old bills in their ATMs, they are now changing them to new bills. We are going around, we are still investigating, going around almost all the banks, the ATMs in Kano Metropolis, to see we have enough money to give them.
So far, the CBN has sensitized many traders across 6 markets in Nigeria's commercial city of Kano, an exercise expected to be extended to rural markets in the days ahead of the deadline that will render the old Naira notes an illegal tender. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Now for a look at the foreign scene, where the United Nations reported that mass graves containing 49 victims have been uncovered in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, attributing the killings to an ethnic militia group in the Ituri provincial village of Nyambamba. 42 dead were discovered buried, including 12 women and 6 children. The corpses of 7 men were discovered in the town of Mbogi, roughly 30 kilometers east of the province of the capital, Bunia. Codeco is one of the several militias active in eastern Congo. Its members are primarily drawn from the ethnic Lendu agricultural population, which regularly attacks Hema traders in the Ituri region. Since the beginning of December, at least 195 civilians have been killed and 84 have been kidnapped in attacks blamed on Codeco and a rival militia known as Zaire, bringing the total number of displaced people in the Ituri province to more than 1.5 million, according to the UN mission. And in sports, West Ham have signed Aston Villa striker Danny Ings in a £15 million deal. The Hammers have paid an initial £12 million for the 30-year-old, which will rise to £15 million if David Moyes' side avoid relegation from the Premier League. West Ham said paperwork was submitted to the Premier League, and as a result, they expect Ings to be available to face Everton on Saturday. Ings joined on a deal running till 2025 after almost 18 months at Villa, who he joined for £25 million in August 2021. And in tennis, British men's #1 Cameron Norrie is out of the Australian Open after losing to rising star Jiri Lacheka. Norrie, seeded 11th, has been aiming to knock off another notable career milestone by reaching the last 16 at Melbourne Park for the first time. He led by 2-1 before his Czech opponent fought back to win 6-7, 6-3, 3-6, 6-1, 6-4 in the third round. Lacheka will play Canadian 6th seed Felix Auger-Aliassime in the 4th round on Sunday. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. Don't forget, you can subscribe to watch us live on YouTube and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.